In this lesson, we'll set up reference images in our Maya scene to be able to model to. So when you're building models, at least at the beginning, sometimes it's good to have reference images actually in your scene to build from. In our case, it's going to be good because the model that you create and the model that I create throughout this course, we can make sure that those match up fairly well by using reference images. Otherwise, I'm kind of placing points and moving vertices, and you're doing the same, but there's no really guarantee that they'll come out close. Okay, so having a reference image will just make sure that the result that we get will be as close as possible. It's not going to be exact for sure, but it's going to be as close as possible. And if you intentionally want to make it a little bit different, that's completely fine. But the key is I don't want you to have to worry too much about matching up the position of points that I'm pushing around, or the exact placement. Having that reference image will kind of free you up to think about the tools that you're using and the techniques, and not worry so much about getting an exact match. And this is something that you could use in your projects. You can import these images. Sometimes that's done. Other times you get to a point where you don't need to have those in there. That's fine too. But for our case in this course, this is going to help us out. So let's go into our 4 views. So I just hit the space bar, and you can see our 4 viewports. And now what we want to do is import images into each of these viewports. So for the top image, or top viewport, we'll go to View, Image Plane right here, go to Import Image. Now in our Maya project for this course, in the Source Images directory, you'll find this RC car front, side, and top images. Okay, so we're in the top view, so let's bring in the top image. You can see that loaded up here, and you can also see it show up in our perspective view. Okay, let's go into the front. Go to View, Image Plane, Import Image, and let's import the RC car front. So bring that in, and you can see it load up here. We'll do the same thing for the side. So Import Image, and we'll do the side this time. And now you can see that all of these images are in here. Now, we do want to scale these up a little bit because I want this car to be, I don't know, about 30 centimeters or so, something like that. So just get an approximate scale to this. So I'm going to select this top one, and over here on the side, we're able to change some of these settings here. So the width and height, I'm just going to set that to actually about 35, because there is some gray space on both ends. So that would make the car about 30 or so. Let's do the same thing for the other ones. So I'm just going to select those, and over here on the side, set that to 35. I just want to make them the same size as one another. Now right now we can see the image here, and it's going to enable us to create geometry and match up the shapes. But in our perspective view, you can see where these are kind of right on the origin, and if we were to make geometry, they'd be right in the center of it. We don't really want that. So let's take our image planes by just selecting those, coming down here, in there, this image center X, Y, and Z. In this case, we've got the side view, so we're going to go in the X, and I'm just going to middle mouse drag this over until it's kind of on the edge of that top view. So in my case, it's about -17.5 or so. All right, let's do the same thing with this one. So we'll select the front view, and this time I want to move it back. So we want to move it back in the Z, so I'll select the image center Z, and I'll drag this back until it's kind of right back here. And then let's select the top one, and I'm going to move this one down. So we're going to go to the Y all the way down here, do something like that. All right, so now we have reference images built up, and if we want to be able to see those in our perspective, they're out of the way of the model. Now we don't have to view those in our perspective view. We could turn off image planes here. In the past, you'd have to turn off cameras, but here we've got an image plane filter, so we can just turn that off. And so now if I were to bring in a piece of geometry here, you can see I could come in and match it up from the side view right here. Okay, I could come in from the front view and match it up as well, and then also from the side view. Okay, now looking at this, you can see that from the front, or from the side rather, let's match this up with the tires. So let's say that this is the front tire, and that's the back of the back tire. So in the top view, it should be the same. And so looking at this, it's a little bit off. So I'm actually going to move this top view a little bit. Okay, so I want the front edge of this, which is on the front wheel here and on the back wheel here, I want it to be the same on the top view. So I'm going to move this a little bit. Let's select our top image plane, and we want to move it in the Z. So do image center Z, and let's just move it forward a little bit. And you can see now that matches up. So just want to get them all matched up nicely in here. Okay, so now both of these should be matched up fairly well, and then we have the front view also. Okay, so once we have our image planes set up, the next thing that we want to do is start to create our geometry. So in the next lesson, we'll come in and start to build the overall shell. Okay, so in this case, I think it's a good idea to kind of go large to small. We'll look at this large molded piece, create that, and then we can start adding our smaller pieces and connecting them together and fitting them in where they should go. Okay, so we'll use some box modeling techniques in the next lesson to build our shell shape. So we'll do that next.